Welcome to Fully Booked, the bookish podcast where I'll chat about all things book and reading related. Whether you're a new or a pro reader, there's something for everyone to learn. I'm here to help you on your reading journey and find that next great read that will keep you fully booked. Hello, readers, and welcome to episode 45 of Fully Booked. I'm your host, Natalie, and today's episode is going to be what I'm calling a series sum up, where I'm basically going to show you guys all the series that I'm currently in the middle of, which ones I want to continue or not, as well as all the series that are still on my TBR. Now, for those of you who have been around on the pod, you probably noticed that maybe compared to others on BookTube or in the online book community in general, I don't read as many series, probably because I don't read as much fantasy as a lot of other people currently are, and I still tend towards true standalones. I just have a thing where I don't really like to pick up as many series, but we've been trying to break that a little bit in 2025, and I think it's actually been going pretty well so far this year because I was actually checking my Goodreads stats the other day, and out of the now 57 books that I've read, 34 of those have been true standalones, and 23 of those books have been part of series or interconnected standalones, which gives about a 40-60 split, which is not bad. I think that ratio probably would have been lower in previous years, so I think we're doing pretty well. Now, I have another thing too. I don't know if any of you guys can relate, where personally, I count interconnected standalones as a series. I know, as the name says, they're technically standalones. You can technically read them on their own, out of order. You don't have to read every single book in the series. But I've been finding I've been getting a little more out of interconnected standalones when I do read them more as a series, because obviously I know really the plot of each book is the standalone part. But I just find I like making the connections between each of the characters, where you know that if you saw a character in a previous book, they're going to pop up again in another book. It's kind of strange too, because it's not like the characters usually have that much of an impact on like the current plot in whatever book you're in. But I don't know, there's just something I like about seeing all the characters together. I don't know, that's probably just a personal thing because I'm just really, again, I like character driven books more. So if I see characters that I'm already familiar with, I'm just more likely to, I guess, enjoy the book. So I've been trying to, do better at reading interconnected standalones as a series, because I used to read them more, again, as standalones, and like I just start anywhere in the middle of the series. I wouldn't really care. I don't know if any of you guys can relate and whether you care about reading interconnected standalones as a series or not. But that is just me right now. And that was probably a very long winded explanation for that. Now, as always, before we get into the rest of today's episode, let's do a quick dom of the day. So, to start off, surprise, surprise, I'm actually not drinking black coffee for once, and surprisingly, I was craving an iced coffee this morning, so I made one. There's not too much going on. I honestly just put a bit of brown sugar in when the coffee was hot, and then I poured it over ice and put it in my Harry Potter tumbler, of course. It's like the only thing I drink my iced coffee from. Sorry, I had to take an obligatory sip. Also, there's been something kind of random that I've been thinking about lately, and I don't know if anyone else can relate, but I've been noticing that my taste has been changing the older I get. Specifically, though, related to coffee, in that even up until last year, I used to be one of those people that as soon as even early spring hits, maybe around like end of April, May, like even if it was only 10 degrees outside, I would crave iced coffee. And you would catch me drinking iced coffee even at 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning, and I would be drinking iced coffee all day, every day. That was just what I liked. But ever since the start of this year, and I've been home a lot more, I find that my body actually craves the hot coffee in the morning. I like the comforting and the soothing feel that I get with having a hot drink first thing in the morning. And for my first drink of the day, it has to be hot. It's weird because if I drink something in the afternoon, like a tea or a coffee, I can have it iced. But if it's my first drink of the day, it has to be hot now. I think definitely on the days that I'm home all day, it's easier to do that. Also because we have temperature control in our apartment unit, which thank God, honestly. But I do find that if I go out during the day, or I should say earlier in the day, like 9 a.m. or something, I will get an iced coffee still, because if I step outside, I feel how hot it is, then my body just knows that it's time for an iced coffee. But yeah, but if I'm staying home the whole day, actually like a day like today where I'm filming, doing stuff for the pod and other stuff, I'm perfectly fine having a hot coffee normally. But today we opted for iced coffee. I have no clue if any of you guys can relate. Maybe this is some sort of change that comes with getting older, which feels strange because I'm technically still in my 20s. So I didn't really expect these changes to be happening yet, but apparently they are. And for my outfit, I don't have too much going on today, except that I got this new, very cute shirt from Old Navy, which I happened to get in their summer sale. And I'll stand up for a second so you guys can see the whole thing. But basically says Good Days Reading Society. And it has a picture of an open book, and then there's food and drink surrounding it on this picnic blanket. Yeah, that's really what I have on today. I honestly just got it because, okay, confession, I was watching one of Bestie Jamie's videos recently, or not too recently. It was probably about a month ago now. But she was doing an Old Navy haul in one of her videos, and she bought a bunch of shirts, including this one. And she mentioned that she got in Old Navy's big summer sale. So I went to go check if the sale was still going on, which it was. And guys, this shirt only cost $12. And I think normally the t-shirts that they had cost around $20, give or take. So honestly, that's a pretty good steal. It's also very comfy. Like whatever cotton blend that this shirt is made of is perfect if you're actually just lounging around and not doing too much. But it's also cute enough that you could wear it over a pair of shorts and skirts and still go out and look very cute for the summer. All right, and then for current reads, we have a bit of a doozy going on because I just recently finished 2 books. So as a result, I picked up 2 more books. So we have Quiet by Susan Cain, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is my book club's July pick. So I need to make sure to continue and finish that one. And then the third book, I'm still reading Mile High by Liz Tomford, which is the first book in the Windy City series. And I just realized by the time this episode comes out, I'll probably be done this book already. But yes, I'm still reading that book. And I have to say, I was a little on the fence if I should even start it because, actually, if you guys noticed, I am going contrary to what I just said in the beginning of this episode. And I started with the second book in the Windy City series. But since I ended up enjoying that one, I figured I should go back and try to pick up Mile High and just, yeah, get all the context, all the different characters in this series. But the problem is that from what I've heard from like booktubers that I watch, a lot of people don't like Mile High out of all the books in the series. So I was really iffy about it, but I figured since I enjoyed The Right Move, I'll give it a chance. And I think that was the right call because I'm actually 80% into the book right now, and it's been a pretty good ride. So at this rate, I'm probably going to finish it within the next day or so. But with all of that out of the way, let's actually get into today's episode, and I will meet you guys in my screen recording app. Hey readers, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far, and hear me out before you hit skip. I'm so grateful for all my listeners who are with me on this reading journey, and I'd like to ask that if you haven't yet, please leave a rating and review as it helps others find the podcast. Also, please consider supporting the podcast financially as it helps me bring you more exciting content, and you'll get some extras like bonus and subscriber-only episodes, early access to new episodes, and much more. The link to donate will be in the show notes below, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/fullybookedpod. Thank you so much again for choosing to listen to Fully Booked, and now back to the episode. All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to my series TBR tracker. Now, if you watched my book tracking episode, which I think I released that back in March or April, I can't remember now. But yeah, this setup probably looks very familiar to you. Actually, just a note, I'm not gonna go over this table again and every single column and thing that I put in it. So if you wanna go hear me talk about that, then you should go back and watch that episode. I'll link it here or at the end of today's episode if I can, for those of you watching on video today. So yeah, with that, let's just start diving in. I think the only thing I'll note is that I have, I guess, tried to color code my table a little bit, where yellow basically means that this is a series I'm currently in the middle of, that obviously I'm going to try and continue. And then I had some series in red, which is going to stand for a series that I'm DNFing, which I actually only have one series so far that I've DNF'd in this whole set of tables. So we're doing okay on that part. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any series in green, which is going to stand for completed, because I don't think I finished any series so far this year. Or if I did, I finished them in such a short span of time that I didn't bother marking them on this tracker because I finished them before I even set up this tracker. So there wasn't really a point in putting it in for me. But yeah, I think there were maybe 2 or 3 series, I want to say, that I technically finished at the very start of this year before I made this. But yeah, that's why they're not in here. And so far, there's nothing in green, unfortunately. Now, you're probably going to notice already. Actually, there's more. You're going to see more as I scroll down. But you're probably going to notice I'm not in the middle of that many series. Also, I just realized I technically made a mistake. Mile High, this should not be in this table because I have 2 tables or main tables in this tracker right now. This first one that you guys are seeing is for series that are true series, and obviously you need to read each one in every single order to continue. But Mile High, that's a mistake. That should be in the interconnected standalone series, so I will have to fix that afterwards. But yeah, let's just start going through at least some of the ones I'm in the middle of, and let's see how long this takes. So first off, shouldn't be a surprise to you guys, I am in the middle of the Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates universe or series. I recently read The Great Undoing, and I already have the audiobook for Magnolia Parks in the Dark, so hopefully I will be reading and concluding that side of the universe very soon. Unfortunately, this series, I guess, isn't going to be marked completed for a while because we don't know when the next Daisy book is coming out. And also, you can see that I have 2 question mark for a number of books to be released, because that is what I've heard so far, is that we are supposed to get 2 more Daisy books. But I'm not sure. And also, we don't even know when the next Daisy book is coming out. So that one's a bit up in the air, but definitely a high priority, no doubt. Then obviously, next one is a series I technically just talked about, so I'll just talk about it now since it's here. Mile High, or the Windy City series. Luckily, this one is a series that all the books have been released, which there are 5 books in this series. So hopefully I'll be finishing that one. I also have a promo on Kindle Unlimited right now. I actually got 3 months of Kindle Unlimited for free, which was such a steal, which is partly why I started this series. And I didn't expect to like it so much. I also thought that maybe I would just read The Right Move and stop there, which is why I didn't start in order for this interconnected standalone. Again, contrary to what I said before. But yeah, this is one that I definitely want to read all the books in this interconnected standalone series now, because surprisingly, I'm enjoying it for the character development. I actually think Liz Tomford, well, obviously the writing style, I'm not gonna lie, it's not my favorite. She is pretty good at writing good character development and arcs, and just having them develop and become better people as individuals, and not just within the context of romantic relationship. I feel like our characters, we kind of have this typical start, at least with these first 2 books so far, where the characters, they're in an okay place, they're living life, but they have a lot of past family, relationship, or other trauma that still has a hold on them, and they have these insecurities, but they kind of just try to ignore their problems and all of that. But usually through meeting and interacting with the main love interest, they're able to explore and unpack some of the trauma and their past problems together and help each other through all of those, and yeah, go on kind of this healing journey. And I've actually been enjoying that. I didn't expect to find and enjoy that in Mile High as well, as much as I did in The Right Move. But yeah, the series has been turning out better than I expected, and considering I don't normally like sports romances. I have been skipping the spice scene still, you guys know. That's not my thing. But yeah, otherwise it's been okay. Oh, and if you guys are like me and don't want to read those scenes at all, you want to skip, a lot of people posted each of the chapters for each book that contain those spice scenes. So if you completely want to skip like me and just go for the character development and the rest of the story, then yeah, that is all available. Okay, let's just try to keep moving through each series because I don't want to take forever for this episode. We have Beartown. If you guys remember, I read this back in January now. And I'm going to be honest, the reason I haven't continued this series is because I associated a lot with winter. At least the first book, Beartown, that I read, a lot of it feels very winter heavy and influenced in the sense that you're in this very cold setting, in this small town. It's talking about hockey. It just feels very wintry, for lack of a better word. And that's how I feel about the other books too, or at least in my head, I think that the other books are going to be very winter related. And they'd be better to read in the winter season, which is why I haven't picked up the next book, which I think is Us Against You. And I'm going to be honest, this is one that I felt like Beartown, it kind of concluded. Like, it concluded some of the main plot points that I felt like we could just end the story here. Like, it did kind of leave off for some of the characters. Like, you can tell they were maybe going to introduce new characters. The storyline was going to continue for some of the, younger characters in the first book. But I was kind of satisfied enough that I felt okay. So I'm actually a little iffy if I want to continue this. But I know so many people have read the other two books in the series, and they've loved it, and they've found a lot more emotional impact from the next two books in the series, which is crazy because I really teared up when I read Beartown. So I don't know how I'm going to feel reading the next two books if I continue. So hopefully that's when I'll continue. But when is really the question. You guys can probably see this whole table by now, and you're already looking. And yes, ACOTAR is still on this list, which really sucks because, as we all know, there's been no news on the next ACOTAR book. Like, it has been crickets. We haven't gotten anything from the publishing company or SJM herself. I don't even know if she's written the next book or how close she is to finishing or whatnot. There has been nothing. So I think that's why I've been very hesitant to continue this series, because I really hate picking up books where there's no news. I guess Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates was the exception, but I really hate picking up series and there's no news when the next book is going to be continued. And this one, it's also sucks because it's been so long at this point since the last book was released. I think the last book was released in 2015 or 16. Or actually, sorry, that's a lie. But it's been, I think, at least 5 years. It's been 10 years since the first book was released. That's my bad. Because we just had the 10-year anniversary. But anyways, this one I've just been kind of iffy, and I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened, you guys, this series, and why I have not continued it, because I got about 20 or 25% into Court of Mischief Fury last year, probably around April, I want to say. And then I just put it down. I never went back to it. And honestly, I think it's because I'm such a seasonal reader. And as you guys know, I forget what episode I recently said it now or whatever, but I don't pick up fantasy when spring or summer hits. It just doesn't happen for me. Or it has to be a very seasonal fantasy that goes a little more with the spring or summer weather. If it's like very fall wintry based, which the first ACOTAR book definitely feels more fall or winter, then I just won't pick it up. So I feel like I read the first ACOTAR book at the perfect time, which is why I initially dove right into Court of Mist and Fury. But I just haven't felt the need to go back to ACOTAR. And everyone's read ACOTAR at this point in the online book community. It doesn't matter how early or how late you are in your reading journey. Everyone's read ACOTAR except for me. And I feel like it sucks because I honestly just changed the priority on this. I lowered it, as you can see, to medium because I'm just kind of feeling like I'm at the point in my reading journey where I know what I like in terms of genres, subgenres. I have my favorite authors at this point, that even though SJM is so highly talked about and I would ideally like to read at least the ACOTAR series and be able to talk about it, have some dedicated episodes on that topic, I don't really feel the need to pick it up and continue. I'm just not drawn to it. And I don't know why, because I know people say that, SJM is such a talented writer. She's able to draw just so many connections between each of the books, and I don't know, connecting early, I think, plot points to stuff in the later books and all of this stuff. But I'm going to be honest, her writing, I think it's not completely for me. I enjoyed it at the time when I read it. I think I was still, in that point in that reading journey where I was just enjoying that type of writing. I don't know if you guys know what I mean. For those of you who enjoy, I don't know, maybe more literary fiction and character-driven books, I don't know, you might know what I mean. But maybe I'm missing out and I just didn't give it enough chance. So clearly, this is when you guys are going to need to convince me to continue, because I just haven't felt the urge. I haven't. I don't know. And then moving along that same trend, I guess. Sorry, I need to take a sip because I'm thirsty. Okay, anyways, moving along. The last one that I have highlighted in this table, actually, no, this one counts as a series. I would count this one as a series because the second book is a direct sequel. But that is Better Than the Movies, which is a YA romance novel by Lynn Painter, and she just recently released, I think it's Nothing Like the Movies. RIP. Don't even remember the title, which was, again, a direct sequel, and that was just released last year. So I think that's why I had this high up on my radar last year, was because I literally went to her author event as well last year, which was a little bit outside the GTA, but I went. And yeah, she announced this book, and then as well as her upcoming books. So I think Lynn Painter books and that one were just very much on my mind, which is why it's on this tracker. But as you can see, priority is very low for this one. I also don't really feel the need to pick up the second book. A lot of people haven't been loving the sequel as much as the first one. They felt like it was honestly one of those situations where she wrote it just to, like, kind of to please probably the fans more. And, like, technically the first book had a satisfying conclusion. Like, you pretty much didn't really need to see Wes and Liz, I don't know, continue on their journey. Like, there wasn't really much for them to continue on. And I personally felt satisfied when I initially completed Better Than the Movies. And I honestly did not see her writing a sequel. I honestly feel like it was one of those situations, like, do you guys know the movie Elf? I don't know why I'm asking. I feel like everyone should know that movie. That is one of those movies that they just made the right decision. I think Will Ferrell was part of that decision as well, he had to say. But yeah, I think him and some of the other, I don't know, caster, directors and people in that movie said that they just did not feel the need to make a second Elf. Like, everyone want a second Elf. Like, people have voiced that. But they said that Elf is perfect the way it is, and they do not want to touch it. Although, who knows? Maybe they could change their minds in the future. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those situations where, like, that's the call Lynn Painter should have made, or she could have made. Like, I just personally didn't feel like she needed to write Nothing Like the Movies. So I'm kind of iffy if I'm going to continue. I just have not thought about that book in a while, too. Like, I enjoyed it when I think I only read it. No, I think I read Better Than the Movies 2023, so it's been a while. And that book just hasn't been on my mind a lot ever since. I think it's also just hard because I'm just starting to grow out of the YA genre, which I will probably say more than once in this episode, I feel like, as we continue down this list. Actually, it's hard to read each one because maybe I should have color-coded each one because I feel like I'm having a little trouble reading in the table the ones I didn't highlight. But anyways, next series, you guys should all know this one, or you've been living under a rock if you don't know it. But that is the Fourth Wing, or the Empyrean series. And again, this is another one that I have the same issue as ACOTAR, where we don't know when the next book's going to be released. We know, or we've heard that there are going to be 2 more books. But Rebecca Yarros has even stated, or I feel like probably like as of like, maybe 3 months ago or something, that she hasn't even started writing the next book in this series. And that fans, shouldn't be expecting it anytime soon. So that's a bit of a bummer because, yeah, I just really prefer to start series that are already completed. Or maybe if there's only one more book that's going to be released, I'll be more likely to pick it up. And it's hard. I know so many people love this series because it's so fun. It's one of those series that's gotten a lot of people into or back into reading, I feel like, as well. Everyone just loves the school academy setting and the dragons. It's just like a really fun setting and plot. And a lot of people like the romance as well, of course. But I don't know. This is just another one where, like, I feel like a lot of people have said, like, similar to what I just said about SJM, and that the writing is kind of meh. Like, the writing is just, no offense, it's not the best, but because the plot and everything else about the book is so fun, you just kind of overlook it. So with this one, I do have it on my TBR, to be fair. I do want to start it by the time late summer or early autumn hits, because I also feel like the vibe of, I think the first and second books, at least the first book, a lot of people said it's perfect for fall. Yeah, guys, I need a lot of convincing basically on every series I'm going to talk about. So yeah, please leave your comments and try to convince me if actually any of these series I talk about are your favorite. Now, I have to admit, actually one that is a little bit higher, just because I've heard it's so fun, so quick, and so bingeable, is the Powerless series by Lauren Roberts. And this one I'm also inclined because the series is now finished. Although, actually, I'm confused. I swore people were saying that there might be another novella, but I know that the main storyline and trilogy are completed. That's my understanding. So Yeah, this one I'm a little bit more tempted. Also, I've heard it's good for people who are fans of, I think, The Hunger Games and Dance of Thieves. I think there's one other series that people have compared it to as well. So I feel like because I know I like The Hunger Games, I've been tempted to pick this one up. And the fact that it's like, wait, how do I put it? It's the opposite of most books where everyone else has powers and the main character doesn't, and she's like trying to survive in this kind of cutthroat, I guess, society, so to speak. Just does sound interesting. And again, I've heard they're so easy to read. A lot of people, again, like the romance. Yeah, it's one that is up there and that I want to try. I'm also hoping it'll help me get back into fantasy if it's that easy to read. So I'm kind of hopeful with that one. Next one is a duology, which is A River Enchanted or The Elements of Cadence duology by Rebecca Ross. And this one's pretty high on my list because I loved Divine Rival. And honestly, Rebecca Ross, I'm such a fan of her writing and the way she describes things so beautifully and lyrically that even though her books are, I think people would say, like a little less plot, sometimes a little more vibes, I just love the writing style so much that I will probably pick up anything and read anything that she writes, even if it's her grocery list. Okay, I'm gonna try to move through some of these as fast as I can because a lot of the ones I have written down I feel like are shorter series, like trilogies. I have a lot of duologies on this list. Anyways, also a little note, they're kind of in random order. Like I kind of tried to order them yesterday in terms of priority from like highest to lowest, but some might be out of order. So just ignore that. But anyways, next I have the Naturals series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Yeah, I put this one on. I actually have the physical copy of the books. If you guys remember from, oh my gosh, when I did my physical TBR episode. Yeah, this one was higher up on the list before, and the priority has now lowered, as you can see again. I enjoyed the Heritage Games a lot when I read it, but again, I think in general, I'm just kind of outgrowing the YA genre. And it's unfortunate because it's like, at first I thought it was just YA romance that I was outgrowing, but I've realized it's kind of YA as a whole. I'm just not really gravitating towards, but these books are so fun. So, and since I own them, I feel like I kind of have to read them and give them a chance. They're also on Kindle Unlimited, which is kind of enticing if I keep my Kindle Unlimited subscription. So we'll see. Next series, When the Moon Hatched, or I have in brackets, yeah, I think it's called the Moonfall series. This is another one. Dragons, a lot of people were picking it up last year, I feel like, and it was good. I forget when this came out. I forget if it just came out last year or in 2023. But yeah, this is one that's pretty recently released. And we do have another book coming out at the start of next year. But yeah, this is another one where, I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about this book besides the fact that it has to do with dragons. I'm so bad. I feel like when it comes to fantasy, I just kind of see like one of the main prefaces, dragons, and then that's it. And then if I'm like, oh, dragons sound interesting, it goes on the list. So yeah, again, this one's in the middle because I don't really know what it's about. That's why I feel like I'm not that drawn to it. So maybe I need to go read the summary and check and see if I actually want to read that or not. All right, guys, I feel like this is taking me a bit long to go through the list because before I was going to go through every single series that I put on this tracker. But I don't want this episode to be way over an hour, so I'm gonna start skipping some so you guys can see the table, you can see what's listed. If you see one that is your favorite series or whatnot that you can see I haven't read, please feel free to leave a comment and convince me why I should read some of these series. So anyway, let's continue a bit. Now, I did want to note some duologies that I have written down, which are Study in Drowning duology by Ava Reed and One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I feel like these have been in the forefront of my mind more because actually A Fury in Dreaming, it might already be out by the time this episode is up, but yeah, this one's being released in July, so the sequel to Study in Drowning. And then Rachel Gillig just released The Night and the Moth this year, and everyone has been picking up that book because they loved the One Dark Window duology so much, and they, I don't know, just enjoyed her writing and everything. I can't remember if One Dark Window is a YA fantasy now, but yeah, I think maybe that might have been why I haven't picked it up. But I feel like so many people were picking up the One Dark Window duology probably late 2023 to like last year, I want to say, and everyone who read it enjoyed it. I think honestly, I also wasn't drawn because it was a gothic fantasy, and I've tried to read some gothic, I think classic literature novels. and I haven't really enjoyed them. But I feel like if it's a fantasy, it might read slightly differently. I think I just don't like the way, classic literature reads sometimes in the Gothic setting. Oh, in A Study in Drowning, I technically did try to pick up that book at the beginning of June, but I got 10 pages in and I put it down because I felt like the writing style was way more describing like a fall atmosphere and weather. Like I think the book even mentioned that it was like cold and there's like leaves on the ground. I don't know. It was something like that. But the descriptions we were getting just felt more fall-like. And so I put it down because I know that this is a book I'm going to complete in the fall. And it's not one I'm going to read as summer is starting. So that was that. But yeah, moving down, you can see we have a lot of popular series and trilogies written down. Oh, and I'm going to quickly go over these three though. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, Six Crimson Cranes. Oh, I think this is by Elizabeth Lim, if not mistaken. And then The Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Sorry, it's so bad. I probably should have written down the authors for each of these series. I don't know why I didn't. And these ones, honestly, are all on my TBR because of Bestie Jamie, yet again. I think these are ones that she has enjoyed quite a bit. Well, at least I know the Poppy War is one of her, I think, top series. A lot of other people, I feel like, started picking up the Poppy War this past year. Yeah, I think people who weren't normally into, I don't know, I get like higher fantasy and R.F. Kuang in particular as an author, just started getting into this series and R.F. Kuang this year. And everyone's been enjoying it. So yeah, I feel like this is one that I need to pick up at some point. I think I'm a little put off and intimidated by higher stakes fantasy. I'm just not really into it because the world building tends to be more complicated. There's a lot more setup and just details of how the world works and yeah, all this stuff going on. But I want to pick up that one because I know it also has historical elements. And then Six Crimson Cranes and Spark the Everflame are also ones that Jamie talked about on her channel. I think I was honestly just looking for more fantasy series to put on my TBR in general, which is why these ended up here. But yeah, skipping down, you guys can see a lot of other series. Oh gosh, Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows. I feel like I've been thinking about this series recently, and everyone says, at the least, you should read the Six of Crows duology. I kind of honestly forget though what these books are about, if I'm gonna be honest. I actually really don't remember. I think the only thing I remember is that Six of Crows involves a heist, and we're set, I think, somewhere in London, maybe? I could be wrong. But there's definitely a heist element, which I think that's why so many people like the Six of Crows duology, because they find that part of the story very fun. But again, priority is still very low on these. I don't know, guys. I think you guys just need to convert me to be a fantasy reader overall, because I've just not been feeling it lately. So let's actually continue on lower down in my tables. So before we go over the rest of my series, which are interconnected standalones, and there are a couple I'm in the middle of, we do have one series I DNF'd, which I mentioned earlier in this episode. And as you can see, it is the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series by Anne Brashares, which hopefully you guys know. There was two movies actually, made based on this series. Sorry guys, my screen app froze for a bit for some reason, which is so annoying when that happens. So I think I was in the middle of saying that I actually don't know anyone who has read this book series, which is funny because I feel like almost every single female has watched the movie or movies at some point. But yeah, it's just not a book series that people talk about, that they end up going back to read. Seriously, I can't think of anyone who's talked about this series, but for some reason I felt like giving it a try last year, and they had all the books available on Libby, so I got them. I think I might have deleted them this right now since I decided to DNF this series. Oh, I forgot to look up the ratings, but I'm pretty sure I did not rate these books above a 4-star. It was like around 3.5 stars for me or something. Each of these books. The writing, was just very young, and it had a very different feel. It had that early 2000s feel. Overall, I just did not really like our main characters. I feel like I was pushing before. Like, I just wanted to have more series I could say I finished, and because these books were so easy to read, because again, the writing was kind of simple, they're YA, I was like, I should just try to finish them. But I'm really trying to do well with DNFing, and even with series, like, even if I get into the middle of the series and I don't like it, like I'm just gonna stop. So that is what I did with this one. I'm hoping I don't have too many series I DNF TBH, which is also why I'm trying to be careful about which series I start, because if I already know that's a series that I'm not that drawn to, and I'm probably just gonna read the first book only, or I might DNF partway through the series, I just kind of haven't been bothering. All right, guys, and now we're moving along to the interconnected standalone table, which I'm very excited for. I feel like looking at this table makes me more excited because I know that majority of the series on this table I'm going to complete or more likely to pick up and read. So with that, we have the When in Rome series by Sarah Adams, which, not a surprise, I have read every single book so far in this series, and we have one more coming out, I think in January of next year, which I'm so excited for already. With this series, I've been waiting for James Madison's story because you get a hint of it even in the first book, When in Rome, in this series. Yeah, I'm very excited for that one. And I think Sarah Adams is honestly just the queen of fluffy, feel-good, lighthearted romances. But I will say that she has been getting better at writing a little more depth to her characters. Not that her characters were completely one-dimensional. I think there was still some dimension when I've read some of her earlier published books. But I think in particular with the latest book that was released in the When in Rome series, you could really tell how much background she was trying to give to each of these characters. Just especially emotional depth and the journey that she takes each of our MCs on in the storyline. I was just really enjoying that. I think that's what I enjoyed a bit more about Beg, Borrow, or Steal in this series. So I really can't wait to see what she does in the last book in this series, In Your Dreams. I'm kind of sad that it's going to be the last book in the series as well, and that this world is going to come to a conclusion, but I also can't wait, and I hope it's good. And then next up we have the Dream Harbor series, which is by Laurie Gilmore. You know, it's a TikTok sensation. You guys have all seen the cover, at least, of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. And surprise, surprise, this is a series that I actually haven't enjoyed that much, but I've read every single one. And it's bad, because normally I don't like to read books where I'm not enjoying the plot that much, or the characters, or most parts of the book. But for some reason, these are ones that are just so easy that I just continue the series. It's like an impulse. I can't help myself. I have to do it even though I hate it. I feel like it's kind of almost like reality TV. Like, there are some reality TV series that you don't really like. You don't really like the types of people that are on them and like all of that, but you watch it anyways because it's there. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. It's probably not a good habit, but I think because this series, there's only one more book coming out, I'm like, I might as well just finish it at this rate. Also, these books are really good on audio. Yeah, the last one, the recent one that I just read, I did it all on audio and it was fine. I probably did miss out on stuff, but it's kind of a series where like, do I really care if I hear every detail? No. Okay. And then moving on to Out on a Limb. I guess this is a very short, interconnected standalone series by the one and only Hannah Bonham Young. Oh gosh, this is probably one of the few Canadian authors I have on this list. Overall, looking now at it. But yeah, I actually went out of order. I read Out on the Woods because I somehow got an e-arc for this for that book in the series. And yeah, I ended up really enjoying. That was also one where she does a good balance, almost like authors like Catherine Center, where there's lighthearted and funny moments. The characters are really good-hearted, and you can tell, how kind they are and what good people they are. But also they have their past, they have their troubles, and like different things to work through that make them just real characters, or like seem like real human beings that you can relate to. So I really like that. The only thing is that Hannah Bonham Young's books are spicy, I will say, or at least for me. So that's one thing I don't like. But other than that, I really like, all those elements that she puts into her books. And I know, obviously, so many people have read Out on a Limb by now, so I really got to pick that one up. This one is, I probably should put the priority a bit higher on that one. Because again, I enjoyed Out on the Woods so much. I think she's an author that I would probably read every single one of her books because I enjoy, just the elements related to her characters so much. Continuing on, Chronicles of Narnia. I have read or have gotten about halfway through that series. But Chronicles of Narnia is weird, where I feel like people don't realize that it's kind of an interconnected standalone. But if you check the description on Goodreads or I don't know, other like platforms, it tells you that each book can technically be read as a standalone. Although, of course, you can't read it like in order as a series. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been treating it more as an interconnected standalone. I have not been really enjoying those books as much as I thought. I think I'm just not really in the era of enjoying classical fantasy. So yeah, I'm kind of iffy. I feel bad because it's a classical fantasy series, and C.S. Lewis is such a highly known author, especially in the Christian community. He has so many titles like Mere Christianity, the Screwtape Letters, and I have yet to pick that up, and I've just been trying to slug my way because I feel like I should finish the Chronicles of Narnia first. I think it's because I do know a friend who said that Chronicles of Narnia is her favorite series, and it's one that she rereads like every Christmas season. But I just not felt the need to finish it. A couple that I will highlight because actually these next three are all by the same author. These are all Abby Jimenez books and interconnected standalones, which are the Part of Your World series, The Friend Zone, and the newest one that she's written and still in the middle of writing, Say You'll Remember Me. I almost sang that. Okay, so honestly, I have enjoyed every single one of these. Also, The Friend Zone, I've technically only read one book in the series, which is the I think the Happy Ever After playlist. I enjoyed that one a lot, I think because it has like the music element with the guy's musician in that one. And then, yeah, Part of Your World, I still need to read Yours Truly. That one should actually probably be a little higher priority because everyone that I see talk about Abby Jimenez in the book community has said Yours Truly is their favorite, and Jacob is their favorite MMC of all time across all romance books. And I've heard so many people rave about the great anxiety and mental health representation in that book, and especially through that character Jacob. Not something that I probably touch upon obviously a lot in the pod for reasons, but I will tell you guys I do struggle a bit with anxiety still, and I've struggled a lot with it in the past, and so hearing that made me really want to pick up that book. And then obviously Say You'll Remember Me, the priority is very low because actually I think she did just make a post that there are going to be like the next two books in that series are going to be released next year. She knows that for sure, but we still don't have any release dates. So honestly, those are definitely ones that I feel like I don't feel really compelled to pick them up as soon as they come out because of how I felt about Say You'll Remember Me. But who knows? I like Abby Jimenez in general as an author, so my tune could change. And then we just have a couple other listed in this interconnected standalone table. Rebel Blue Ranch is the Done and Dusted series by Lila Sage. I think a lot of people also say they like that series for the character arc, as well as some of the representation of, I think mental health. So that has compelled me a bit more to pick up those books. I don't know if it should be a surprise or not, but out of all of, I guess, the romance subgenres or niches, cowboy romance is one that I've yet to pick up. And I don't know why, because I've tried sports romance. Actually, I've never really completed one, but I think I've picked up one or two billionaire romances, all of it, but I've yet to pick up a cowboy romance. And I have a confession for you guys right now. I'm actually kind of secretly, but kind of not into Southern culture and things. So like, I like country music. I like, things having to do with cowboys. Like I've really been wanting to get lately, like a cowboy hat and cowboy boots. And I've really been wanting to go to a country music festival. That's literally all those things on my bucket list. Oh, and I want to try line dance. All those types of things related to cowboys, basically. But yet I haven't picked up a cowboy romance. And I think it's because, I'm going to be honest, most cowboy romances tend to be spicy. Like, I feel like there's not really a thing as any, or at least any well-known closed-door cowboy romances. I feel like cowboy romances are also, they're kind of simply written. Like, they're just not, the best, like, lyrically written books. They're kind of just books that you pick up more for fun and for the vibes and for maybe even a guilty pleasure, so to speak. So yeah, I haven't really felt drawn to those types of books. books necessarily. Although I feel like Mile High has kind of changed my mind about these types of books and just picking some books up for fun and like not taking everything so seriously in my reading journey, because I don't know, maybe I just tend to take things a little too seriously. That's like just the type of reader I am. But yeah, I feel a little more tempted to pick it up and just try to have a good time, and you just kind of keep things with a grain of salt, you know? So yeah, I think I will try to pick up one of those, which is why I also have Elsie Silver's Cowboy series written down, which are the Rose Hill and the Chestnut Springs. I also saw someone read, oh god, I forget what it's called. It's the something Ranch series. She has another one that has more to do with horses. It's like the first book of that one's Off to the Races. Maybe I'll throw up the book so you guys know what I'm talking about. So I kind of want to put that one on my TBR now, but my series tracker is kind of starting to get a bit long. So I feel like if I add series, I also need to take off some. But yeah, otherwise we have Next to Kin is another series written by Hannah Bonham Young, which I would like to get to. And then It Happened in Nashville and Charleston are two, I guess, short, interconnected standalone series by Sarah Adams. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I don't hear a lot about these two series by her. Like, most people tend to read the When in Rome or, oh, I think I forgot to talk about the Cheat Sheet series. Yeah, these two down here, people don't really tend to talk about. Or if they have picked them up, it's kind of just a quick and fast read. They don't really enjoy them that much. Maybe honestly, if I'm satisfied enough with the When in Rome and the Cheat Sheet series, maybe I'll just take those ones off, because I never hear people talk about them, honestly, at this point in time. So I'm not feeling convinced. Convinced is the word of the day, guys. Okay, and then the last two I have written down here are, I think these are both short series by Lynn Painter, which are Mr. Wrong Number and The Love Deception, which these are both adult series of hers. Sorry, I need another water break. Yeah, and as you can see, priority is very low for these. I'm just not a fan of Lynn Painter's adult book. And even before, when I was still enjoying her YA romance books, I never enjoyed her adult romance. I'm pretty sure, actually it's bad, I think I rated the last one I read by her 4 stars, but now that I think back to it, I would probably rate it, that one, a little bit lower. Because yeah, I just don't really enjoy her adult romance. I feel like I like the banter in Lynn Painter books. Like, that is the number one thing I enjoy if I do pick up one of her books. But I feel like the rest of the books, like the plot and, I don't know, character development and other elements, I don't really tend to enjoy. Like, I just don't think there's much that draws me to her stories, at least in this point in time. Like, her stories are very, because of the banter, the, like, I don't know, witty dialogue, they are very fast-paced and easy to get through, which is why I used to pick them up in the past, but I'm not really drawn to books like that, at least in this point in time. Alright, so now that we have made it to the end of all of those tables, let's actually get a final count of how many series I am in the middle of and are on my TBR. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I pre-counted yesterday, so you guys wouldn't have to sit and watch me do it right now, and I got a little lazy. I only counted once. I didn't bother to double check. But from the numbers that I got yesterday, the grand total number of series are 13 series that I'm in the middle of, 1 series that I've DNF'd, and have 37 series are on my TBR still. So yeah, as you can see, we have a long way to go with series and knocking those off of my TBR, in addition to the rest of my TBR. So I'm hoping I can knock a couple more off, at least by the end of this year. But as always, we'll see. And that is it for today's series sum up for now. Hopefully, again, I will be knocking off some series and be able to continue updating my series TBR tracker for the rest of 2025 and into 2026. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you're watching on video and don't know what to comment, please feel free to let me know what series you are currently in the middle of, or what series you want to start in the remainder of 2025, and I would love to hear. But as always, all the usual things, make sure to like, review for the pod wherever you may listen, or if you haven't already, be sure to go and subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel. You guys haven't noticed, I have been trying to up my shorts game, and I've been posting all kinds of short and long form content, as well as my audio only episodes. I also do post those to YouTube as well every Tuesday when those ones are out. So You can get access and notified to all of those immediately if you are subscribed. And it's just another way to support the podcast, and it is free. But in addition, if you guys are all caught up and you want to get access to more content or early access episodes, I do post early access episodes every Friday on my Buy Me a Coffee. So you can make sure to check out the link or support the podcast there and get access to, again, lots more bonus content that I post over there for you guys to enjoy. But with all that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you back here for episode 46. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you were able to take away something, and be sure to follow the podcast for more bookish content. Until next time, stay fully booked, and I'll talk to you soon.